Hi you guys. So as promised, I'm going to upload every week a training video from the Autumn Calabrese Coach Exclusive group. So this is week 2. It's with Coach Emily Robidaw. She is a top coach, Canadian coach, elite coach. She's amazing. And her topic is going to be challenge groups. This is definitely the thing I'm passionate about when it comes to coaching. Challenge groups are such a huge part of coaching you guys. Like if it wasn't for challenge groups, I wouldn't have any clients. I wouldn't have a lot of my coaches. Those groups give us something to invite to every month. They give us a way to, not just sign our clients up and say see you later, but to help them on their journey, to be a part of their journey, to help motivate them, keep them accountable. Those groups are what's going to give you, long-term clients that are going to be on Shakeology every month, that are going to turn into great coaches down the road because they fall in love with, the company, the products, the programs. They're going to refer people to you because they're going to be feeling so good and awesome, and people around them are going to be noticing it. Challenge groups are huge, you guys. They're something you should be running every single month, at least once a month. You can do them twice a month. There's a new thing now that I shared in the team page. Carl Deichler, the CEO, is suggesting doing doing a group every Monday, advertising that you're going to take 5 new people every Monday. I won't get into that too much right now, but there's a post in the team page about it. Bottom line, you need to be running one challenge group a month, you guys. If you're not comfortable with it, join mine. You can always advertise for my start date. You can advertise about it for as your own group. Add your people into it. You can coach it with me. And then when you feel comfortable and you have a handful of your own girls, then you branch out and you start your own. I love them because there's no right or wrong way to do them. You can make it totally fun and unique to you and your personality. You can put your own spin on them. Whatever you would love to see in a challenge group, do that with your own challenge group. But anyway, I don't want to ramble too much. This video is about just over an hour, you guys, but take the time to watch it. If you break it up into, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, while you're cooking dinner, while you're driving to work, but make sure you get it in because it's awesome freaking info. So I'm just going to share my screen. I'm going to hit play and I'm going to get out of here and go do my workout. Enjoy.
What's up, you guys? Happy Sunday night. I hope everybody is having a great Sunday. So we are getting ready to start our next interview. Week 2, that's what we are entering into, is week 2. It says that I'm live. Is anybody jumping on? Because I got to make sure that I can get Emily on here for this discussion. Okay, we have one person on. So Emily, whenever you get on, I need you to there, I see that you're on. Okay, so you need to request to join the conversation. It should be at the bottom. Tell me if you see it. Or let me see if I can add you. Hold on. We got to get our guest coach on. Okay, I'm inviting you to the conversation. Emily, you have been invited, so accept it. Let's see, bring on camera. Okay. Give us just a second, and once she's on, we will start chatting. There she is. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Let me crank up my volume right here.
Perfect.
All right, we're good to go.
Yay! Okay, so happy Sunday. So you and I are just going to chat, and all these awesome peeps are going to get to listen in, and if they can't listen right now, then they will listen later.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can light this up.
Yeah, I'm trying to work my light too. It was pretty bright. You never know until it goes live. You're like, okay.
Right? And then you're like, okay, we're live. I don't know if I'm lit or not lit, but whatevs. Okay, we're lit. So, hi. All right. So, you guys, we have Emily on. She's amazing. I've actually known Emily for several years now. Gosh, since 21 Day Fix, really, right? Gotten to go. Where are you in Canada? You're still in Canada?
Yes, I am. I would love to be in LA. No, I'm in Canada. I'm in close to Ottawa, the capital, on the Quebec side.
Okay.
So this is like the French province in Canada. There's a lot of French people all over the country, but our province is like official language is French. So yeah, this is where I am. I'm on the East Coast, so it's 9 o'clock here.
Okay, so it's a little later. I got you up past your bedtime. You guys, let me just tell you, I'm so excited to have Emily on for this call, especially because So back in the, well, I know we do our team cups, but for a minute there, it was like Emily and her team, every single team cup. I swear, I was like, so do you guys, is it just like, are you the only ones competing? Like, what the heck? I love it. I love seeing you guys, but like, give somebody else a fighting chance. So Emily coming on to talk to us about Challenge Group and Challenge Group best practices is amazing. So that's what we're starting with. Just trying to figure this lighting stitch out. Yeah, it's driving me crazy. Okay, so we're talking about challenge groups and challenge group best practices, and I had sent you a bunch of questions that we would sort of go over. Yeah. So obviously, let's just jump right in. How long have you been a coach for?
I've been a coach for 5 years, and I remember the first time we met was before the launch of 21 Day Fix in LA. After winning the cup for the first time, I was pregnant with Callie, 13 weeks. Yes. And it's funny because I recently shared that story because I was announcing that you were interviewing me. I was so excited. And then, like, thinking of all the pictures we've taken in all the years. So yeah, it's been 5 years, and I can tell you that I'm as excited or even more than I've ever been with everything that we have going on in the network. And I'm so thankful to be there tonight. I'm super excited to talk with you and talk about challenge groups. That's something that is dear to my heart. I've been running challenge groups since I became a coach and been tweaking things, trying things out. So trying things out, and tonight I'll be able to share a few things that I've been doing that work for me.
Yeah. So let's first just talk about, obviously, okay, so I'm going to start with the fact that, like, let's talk new coach first, right? Then we'll get into some of the stuff for people who have been coaching for a long time and might need a little kick in the pants or something new to try. But think back to that time when you were a brand new coach and you were like, what the heck is going on, and what does it mean to have a challenge group? So let's use 80-Day Obsession as our reference point. So if you're running an 80-Day Obsession challenge group, walk me through a little bit about how you would set that up. What platform are you using? Are you doing Facebook? Are you doing Challenge Tracker app? Let's start there.
It's cool that we get to talk about that today, because I'm like in the middle of a transition from like doing multiple groups at the same time to like doing one single group ongoing. So one thing I love about our business is that we get to be very creative and we have a lot of flexibility with what we do. So right now, what I've been doing with 80 Obsession, I created different groups. So when 80 Obsession came out, I was still doing my challenge tracker like as the official platform. I do have a Facebook group that I call my VIP group, which includes every customer that I have or everyone that completed a challenge group with me. So it's still a way for me to connect with them. But typically what I've been doing for the last few years, I would say, now I'm transitioning for something new, is running groups of 20 people. So as an example, for 80-Day Obsession, I think I had like 9 groups. So it was kind of like craziness, but like good craziness. And it kind of got me thinking of like transitioning from a one group. So anyways, all that to say that.
So wait, hold on. I want to ask you a question about that really quick. Don't lose your train of thought. I apologize, but I don't want to lose my question. So you were doing 9 groups. They were all 80-Day Obsession groups, but 9 different ones, and each one had 20 people in it. Am I understanding that right?
20 people, that's what I would do. The reason why I choose 20 people is after all the years I've been doing that, I felt like that was like the magic number. Because you have to understand that we have to take ownership of our groups and like leading them and being present, but there will be groups that will take off more than others. I mean, I feel like sometimes even if like I was running like all these groups together, like some of them were like exploding and you don't know what the chemistry is going to be with people. So I felt like this was like kind of the magic number. Sometimes I felt like if it was too big, some people would get lost. But then again, I know other coaches that do like ongoing groups, and that's what I've been doing. So the key here, I feel, is finding something that works for your style of coaching, that you're comfortable with, and also that you're going to be able to provide the support that the people need. So that's what I did for 80-Day Obsession, and I had like a bunch of groups starting on January 15th, and then I had a few other ones that started like 2 weeks after. So when a new program comes out, like 80-Day Obsession or any other program that we have, I typically have an exclusive group that's like only that program. But in other times, I'll have like mixed groups, because what I do when someone comes to me and we start a conversation is I want to find out what they need. Like, I mean, 80-day session is freaking awesome, but it might not be for everybody. So like,
absolutely.
Yeah, the questions and finding out their needs. And then I will make like a few recommendations. Usually my invitation process looks like this. Like, I ask a bunch of questions, like I find out what where they are, what they need, what their goals are, and then I'll send like maybe three videos with like a little text of like that summarizes what the program is about. And I ask them to watch the video, and I say, okay, which one like appealed to you the most? Like, these are the things, the ones that I think would help you reach your goals according to what we checked.
Okay, so hold on, I'm gonna stop you again. I just want to make sure I'm asking you questions so that I can make sure we're clear. So, and because these are tools that newer coaches are going to be able to use, or maybe coaches that have been around for a while just didn't think about. So when you say you send them a short little 2 or 3 minute video, is it a video of yourself describing that particular program, or have you created a snippet of almost like a sizzle reel from Beachbody?
These ones I use the official video that promotes
the official sizzle reel from the program.
That's right. And then I'll have.
So you're not making a new video, I
use third-party tools all the time. Sometimes I'll make my own videos for certain things, but for these ones, I feel like they're so perfectly made. and then I'll just like add a few details about like the key points. And then I think we have all that information too in the Coach Online office. But these are like texts that I reuse all the time. Like, okay, so this is like what the program is about, how long it is, etc. So for 80-day obsession, I created like specific groups, and it doesn't like, and I had like in parallel to that, I also had another like general group, because I don't want to kick anyone out. I mean, if someone's just starting and maybe they're better fit with the 21-day fix, I still want them to get that experience. So in the last few years, I've been running monthly groups, at least one a month, like minimum, typically 2 or sometimes 3. But every 2 to 3 weeks, I would have a new challenge group starting. So as a new coach, I didn't have like the volume of customers that I have now. I didn't have the following that I had. So I felt like this was the best way for me to make sure that I was always inviting to a next group, because I always had a new starting date. I knew that I needed like 2 to 3 weeks to recruit or find my people, and then they'll need a week of preparation, and then we'll be good to go on day 1. So that's how I've been doing things. Now transitioning as in May, we'll try for the first time to run an ongoing group using Facebook and my challenge tracker. I love Facebook for going live, doing interviews like that. I feel like it's so interactive and so easy. Everybody's already on Facebook. And I love my challenge tracker because for the customers, the clients, they can track their workouts, their Shakeology. I love, like, some of my clients just love like putting their stats in, and they really enjoy that. So I feel like it's important as a coach, I would provide them with that tool, because they earned it. They bought a challenge pack and they're in our challenge group. But at the same time, I feel like Facebook offers the different things that are very appealing, especially for me as a coach, like being able to go live, answer questions. It's more interactive than like just uploading a video in the app. And the app for me is also super useful to see who's logging their workouts, because Facebook, sometimes it's harder to just keep track of everybody. And then it's very visual. Like, you see, okay, how many Shakeologies they logged in, how many times they logged their workouts. So I feel like both are really, really useful in different ways.
Right. Okay. So the first step is, obviously, we invite people to the challenge group. So when you guys are creating your challenge group, so like what I'm taking away so far is Emily has a very specific number in her mind of like, this is how many people max I'll take into a challenge group. And I do think that's really important to keep in mind for a reason, you guys. When the challenge group gets out of control, when it gets really big, like 50, 60, 70 people, you have to ask yourself if you're giving everybody enough attention. The attention that they need, right? Because if they start asking questions, because you guys see it when you're in my groups, right? Like, we just had the 80-day obsession group and there was 43,000 people. And while I'm the one in there answering the majority of the questions. We still have the nutritionists on staff at Beachbody that can jump in and answer a question, the fitness expert that can jump on and answer questions for me. It's being monitored by a third party for inappropriate behavior, so stuff is being taken down if it's not, like there's a lot.
Yeah.
That group is really big. Even like the big group I have, Path to Progress, right now that has 27,000 people. Same thing, I have a third party group that monitors it for me in terms of making sure nothing inappropriate is getting posted, and if it does, it gets taken down, and I get a report at the end of the day. These are the 5 main questions we saw, blah blah blah, so that if I miss something, I can go in and answer that question. So it's just important to keep that in mind, that when you set up your challenge group, you want to make sure it's really exciting and it's super great to have that many people, but maybe that's where you team up with one of your other diamond coaches or above, right, to help you run it if there's going to be a lot of people in it. Is that a good
absolutely
thought process?
Yes, and we are Team Beachbody. I mean, like running groups as a team is really a good idea. For me, like if I'm teaming up with other people, or also leveraging the people in the group, like giving them the permission to lead. So it's something that we don't always ask, but I felt like, especially if you have like customers that like, there might not be coaches now, they might not feel ready, or they might don't want to be that coach, like, or associated like with being a coach, but they might, really enjoy just taking that position of like leading the group a little bit. So sometimes what I'll say, if I'm starting a new group, like I challenge the people that already were in a challenge group before to take the lead and not be afraid to answer questions, because they have the experience, like they've done 21 Day Fix, they've done other programs, and they can answer some questions. So I feel like just sometimes giving the permission to your people in a group to say, hey, it's okay, you can go ahead and answer, then they feel valued, and they also like take a better commitment to the group, and everybody wins. I mean, I win because someone else is also like engaging and trying to like connect with the people in the group. They win because when you're committed to like being present in the group, like, I mean, being a coach is the best way for me to stay on track with my health and fitness. I mean, I go through ups and downs. It's not always, 100%, but because I'm surrounded by this, amazing community of people that work out, eat healthy, it doesn't take long for me to get back on track if I do fall off the track. So, I mean, like, this isn't the way, and you have to keep that in mind too. When you get to the point where you feel like you might have too many people, that's maybe when you want to break them into different groups, but like just being conscious of that and making sure that you're giving them the support that they need, because after all, that's what they sign up for. They can get the program, they can get anything wherever, like on the website, but if they choose you as a coach, they want your support and your guidance.
Right. So how do you feel about, okay, again, we're sticking with 80 Day Obsession being the program that we're using as our example right now, and especially because it's the first program in a long time that is this long of a program. So how do you feel about, so this is the question coaches ask all the time, I kept saying. They would say, okay, well, do I start a new group every week for 80 Day Obsession? Do I start a new group at the end of every phase? So like phase 1 ended, do I start a brand new group so that a whole new group of people? Do I continuously add people to the existing group? Now, I have sort of my stance on it, and I'll share it, but I want to hear yours first.
Okay.
I want to hear, like, as a coach, because I'm not a coach, but I know, like, sort of in business terms, what I think would be the most effective. But you're a coach, so you tell me what you
Again, there's so much flexibility in how we're doing things, so I feel like I'm teaching my coaches to do what I've been doing. I can't teach them otherwise.
Sure.
I've been a coach for 5 years, so I came in with a program, a 90-day program. I had completed a 90-day program, so 3 months long. And for me, we always teach what we learn and what we have experience with. For me, when I first started, I would do 12 weeks group. So that's how I was running them. And for me, challenge pack equals challenge group. So I require Shakeology or a challenge pack, or again, it's a case by case situation. Like, I'm going to talk with people and all of that. But for me, this is this is the price to pay to have my coaching and have my individual support to, and it's worth something because they're not paying us. Like, they're paying for the products and basically comes for free. So you decide where you fall in that range. But for me, renewing Shakeology has always been a way to stay in my groups or a different product. So now like I said, you decide how you want to run it. But for me, it's like now I tell them, well, if you buy like for 50 point volume, like if we're talking business wise, like 50 PV like a month, it doesn't have to be Shakeology. It might be the bars, it might be the performance line, it might be something else. Obviously, I truly believe in Shakeology, so that's something that I know is helping them, and I know after a month, typically they want to continue it because it feels so good and they see the difference. So for me, 80 Day Obsession, what I did is I did one group, 3 phases, and if you wanted to stay in, you had to continue with Shakeology or the performance line. I feel like everybody stayed in the group. I don't know if
But if you had, like, let's say you had, let's say you were in week 3 of 80 Day Obsession, and all of a sudden you have 4 new people buy a challenge pack. Do you add them to the existing group, or do you start a new one?
Okay, so like what I've been doing recently, so I had like those exclusive only 80 Day Obsession for the first few weeks, like let's say in January. So I started a few ones, and like maybe January 15th, and then 2 weeks later I started another round of groups. After that, they would go in my general group. So where not everybody was doing 80 Day. And then it's a monthly thing where every month I would create a new group. So they didn't get the same experience as the ones that signed up. But again, I guess that was like in my head. I couldn't just, I didn't want to solely focus on one program. So, but they would still get, I would still get a few people that would get, like for a long time it was 21 Day Fix. Like I would run general groups, like mixed groups, and then there would always be like 2-3 people that were doing 21 Day Fix, and it still is like that. But so that's what I would do. So again, it's like, okay, there's so many ways and so many avenues you can take, but this is what I did, and I still have new people signing up, and now like that I'm transitioning to an ongoing group. What I want to do is like I want them to be very vocal. So I introduce everybody every week, like the new people that purchased the previous week. And then I'll have them introduce themselves so that they can team up. Oh, this one's doing 80 Day Obsession too. So they create relationships like that. So they're still getting a really good group environment, even though it's not just specifically that program.
So you only you have like we're starting 80 Day Obsession exclusively January 15th. So if they're not in it by that date, then they don't get it added to your exclusive group. They get added to your general group, even if they're doing 80 Day Obsession. And it's like, hey, people are in here. You're still getting my support and other support, but there's multiple programs.
Yeah. So I run in multiple programs group in that.
Cool. And you guys, see, this is great because there are so many different ways to do that. And I love that because you're using that as a leveraging tool to push them to the start date. And that's a big deal. So when a new program launches, right, like you've got Lift 4 coming this summer. So what Emily is saying is that she'll give people a start date for Lift 4. And if they're not in that group by that date, then if, let's say 2 weeks later they purchase Lift 4, it's not like she's not going to put them in a challenge group, but she's going to put them in her, we'll call it her all-purpose challenge group, which is multiple different programs are taking place in that group, and that one's sort of ongoing, and she still gives support to that group, but it's not the same as the exclusive one. And I think that's great, and that she's right. That is one way of doing it, and it's like I said, I love that push to the start dates. Now, what I was sort of talking about is, I know at headquarters we talked quite a bit as we sort of got into 80 Day Obsession. It was like, okay, well, do we encourage people to start new groups? When do we encourage them to start new groups? And we all had our own opinions. Like myself, Jeff, Carl, we all had different ideas about like when you would add people to the group. Now, here's what I'll say, and again, I'm not a coach, obviously, but this would be my thought as the trainer and the person sort of responsible for creating it and how it flows, is that if you wanted, like, because 80 Day Obsession is such an intense program in terms of the length and the attention to detail to your nutrition and the time nutrition, that I always think you push real hard for that start date. You get as many people in on that start date as possible. But then, like, if you get more people buying 80 Day Obsession and you want to give them the benefit and take a little pressure off yourself, that you can continuously add them into that 80 Day Obsession group going on. Because what they get is the benefit of the people that are in there before them. And they can say, oh my God, it's week 1, it's so much food for me, blah, 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 I'm stressed out. And the people that are on week 3 can go, oh my God, I was there, trust the process. Here's what I did. Or, oh my gosh, I'm starving all the time. Oh, you need to bump up. So you get the benefit of the people that have come before them being able to, like Emily said, help you. And that also kind of helps you identify who might be a good coach. Right? If you see one person constantly stepping up, then you can go, wow, you're doing really great. I really appreciate, the fact that you're chiming in all the time in the group and giving such great advice. Have you ever thought about coaching? So that's one way of doing it, like I said, for 80 Day Obsession. But I do also, love the fact that you have that ongoing group, because we know that not one program is right for everybody, and you can't just shove somebody into 80 Day Obsession just because it's the new program. You need to put them where they go. And I think a lot of newer coaches probably get a little anxious, like, well, how many groups am I going to run? Do I need a 21-day fix and a fix extreme and a quarter force and that, because that's a lot of work. So having that one group where you can put a lot of attention, but there's multiple programs, is a great way to do it. And then you have that sort of exclusive group that's going on as well.
I love that you add people too. Like, I think it's a great way to do it. Also, I wrote down, I said, go with the flow. Like, I'll go with the flow. And got to think, like, obviously when 80 Day Obsession came out, like, my focus was like 100% there. So all I promoted was that. So if you want to keep doing that, just keep promoting that program, because any energy goes where focus goes, energy flows. So like, obviously I was getting a lot more people. So depending on how you want to run things, and if I would have like multiple new people that have the same program, let's say, I might create a different group. So I'm like, I think being flexible also, like, not like, it's good to have a system and you want to know exactly, like, 1, 2, 3, 4 what you're going to do, like step 1, step 2, but I'm also very flexible and I go with the flow and I say, okay, if I have more people, or if I think, oh, this would be more beneficial, then I might change it up. And also having like my community of customers. So now, like, if anyone is a client of mine or buys a challenge pack, immediately they also go into that VIP group. So I have a lot of support and questions that happen there, because like they have access to a lot of people that had experience. So some people that are in a specific challenge group can also go in that bigger group to get like answers from a lot of people that might have experienced the same thing. So I feel overall it's really just making sure that you're there, they have the group environment, and they can benefit from other people that have experienced the program before.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm getting lots of great questions coming in from people watching, and I have some more for you. So one question I have is, do you incentivize, like, to get people into it? So do you say, like, oh, I'm going to give away a da-da-da, or like, oh, if you complete the group, do you do anything like that, or no?
So it's not something that I would do, like, before well, sometimes I did it. Sometimes I did, like, I'm going to draw a Fixate book for all the people, and that's a good marketing thing. Like, and people need, like, a little push sometimes. You just need to, like, hold their hand. Like, you got to think, like, I'm still, my mind is still blown sometimes. Like, someone took their credit card, like, and they, they purchased this, and, like, they trust me. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so sometimes hold their hand and just giving them a little push and be like, okay, this is now. We're doing it now. Like, having a deadline. This is going to, like, increase your sales, because, like, suddenly people, like, they don't want to miss out, right? They don't want to miss out. So I would do that sometimes before they would get in. Or what I've been doing pretty steadily, I guess in the last few years, is drawing like a gift card. So I would have like those different groups of 20 people, and at the end of the group, I would draw a gift card. And how I would do it, and again, you can do all kinds of things, but I would use my challenge tracker. And on prep week, I tell them about my inspiration challenge. So this is how I call it. Défi Inspiration en français, my inspiration challenge. And then I tell them how they can, there's a point system, right? So they get points for logging in their Shakeology, they get points for logging in their workouts, and then I'll have like spontaneous challenges. So it keeps them on their toes because they have to check in the group if I did like, oh, share this, I don't know, share a tip with us in the comment and get 5 points for the inspiration challenge. So I feel like you can really like keep the group going. And so like having like those specific posts or like just spontaneous challenges kept them coming back. And then at the end of the month or at the end of the challenge, I would like draw the gift card between the top 3 of people that got the most points. So that's how I would do it. Again, you could do all kinds of ways, and that was working really good. Like, and now transitioning to an ongoing group, I'm doing sort of the same thing but in a different way. It's harder to track their Shakeology because some people have been there in like for 3 weeks and others 3 months. So I'll do like more weekly things. Like you have until Sunday to post a workout of you, a video of you working out in a funny place, let's say, or whatever. Like, just like be creative and have them, and then I'll type their names and give them a deadline, and then I'll draw it and say energize packets or whatever you want to incentivize. But I feel like it's a good way to keep the group going and just like have them excited about coming in and checking what the new challenge might be.
I think that's so important. Whatever, however you incentivize, right? Like it doesn't have to be like money out of your pocket per se, but I do think having some way of doing it so that you're guaranteeing that they're coming in and checking in constantly with that group, right? Because that's a big deal, is that if somebody doesn't check in for 2 or 3 days and then all of a sudden a week, then they sort of forget about the group, and then they might start to slack, right? They might need that push. So the fact that you're giving them something, and again, you guys, you can do this in all different ways. Emily's just sort of telling you her way, and hopefully that gets your wheels turning of like, oh, I could do da-da-da, right? Like, and everybody's can be different. It's going to be different based on the group that you have going, how many people are in that group, how much, if you're a full-time coach or a part-time coach, how much time you have to track it. But the point is she's giving them fun being a key word, fun reasons to come check in. Like, oh, did Emily give us a new challenge for the day? I earned my 5 points, or things like that. And it kind of, you sort of answered a little bit of another question within that question, which was, how often do you check in with the group? And I can tell you, I personally check in every single day. It doesn't, like right now I have 2 groups going on. I've got the 2 big groups going on, and I've got a diet bet that starts on May 7th, but I check in every single day. It doesn't mean I'm checking in all day, every day. You have to remember not to, how does Carl describe it? He said, like, he basically says, like, don't get distracted rearranging your paper clips.
Yeah.
Basically, like, don't think that, like, just checking in and liking posts all day means that you're doing all the work of the coach, right? So the more important thing is to maybe you check in once in the morning. Good morning. Welcome to day 8. Here we go. Make sure you press play. Post that photo or whatever if you've got a tip or if you see that the questions come up. And then maybe you check in at the end of the day. You all did awesome. Saw your post. Love the sweaty selfies. Da-da. Or you see, like, I see a bunch of you asked this question today. Let's talk about that really quick. Like you don't have to check in the whole day, right? Emily, what about you? How do you do
it? It looks a lot like that. At least every single day, at least once. But I like doing it like morning and night, like you said, to see what the flow of the group is. And I do the same with my coaching groups. And I feel like working, like you said, like we could be checking groups all day long and liking and checking notifications. I save time for like these specific things. So I might not answer directly like after 5 minutes. It depends when the person posted the comment, but I'll check in daily for sure. I do that in the group, and then I do an individual follow-up weekly with everybody that's in my group. So and I ask how they're doing, because the group environment is awesome, but you can't just rely on that. Some people won't thrive as much in that group environment. Some people don't need it as much, and they just like to do their own thing. And you might think that, oh, they're not into it, they're not like doing the workout, they're not drinking their shakes, but sometimes it's just because they just didn't check in. So, I mean, we can't force them. But I know some of my coaches, like, and they know themselves, and they're like, maybe they didn't come in as a challenger, and they're like, I would have been the worst challenger. So you don't want to like let them just think that they didn't do the work. Like, you have to follow up individually. So check in daily, and then following up individually weeklies, asking how they're doing, how they're doing, how they're progressing. And I feel like sometimes some people will open up more too privately, and you know, life happens sometimes. Other priorities came in, or like they didn't think about checking in, and then they get a chance to talk with you and maybe ask you questions that they might not feel so comfortable asking in the group, even though I really encourage them to do it in the group because it benefits everybody. So that's how I do it. And I just want to get back on the incentive. Also, what I like to do with my challenge group is to educate people throughout the challenge group. And like, I would like sometimes like do like clips of Shakeology. I use an interview with Isabelle Dicler. Like, she speaks French, so for us, like, given the market is French, it's like gold. And like, and we don't have, like, now we have a lot of tools, but I've been using like that video a lot. And like, I would ask them, okay, it's like a 25-minute, 30-minute interview. So to have them watch it, I would say, hey, you're getting like 20 points for your, and then I would have them comment. So you can use that too to educate people and have them like understand more about nutrition or whatever you want them to understand more, to have like them sit down and actually watch the video or read the post.
That is genius right there, you guys. That's gold, what she just said, and it works for so many things. So I can tell you, as one of the super trainers at Beachbody, we spend so much time on the content and the videos, especially now the videos, because everything's streaming, that we create for you guys. So like, if you look at 80-Day Obsession, there's all the starter videos out, right? Okay. And as the creator, I can also tell you, it's countless messages that I get that I know I've answered in not only in the written materials, but in the videos that are right there on Beachbody On Demand. Yeah. But it's like nobody wants to watch them and nobody wants to read. Yeah. They literally just want me to like, it's so funny because they have to read my response.
Yeah, I know.
To my response, but they don't want to. So having like you said, saying like, hey, you know, everybody, we're starting 80-Day Obsession tomorrow. Make sure you log on to Beachbody On Demand and watch the 15-minute getting started video, because that's where Autumn covers all the nutrition, right? Or portion fix. We have all the foundational videos about how do you set up your pantry, how do you set up your kitchen, how do you set up your refrigerator, like what do the containers count as and why, and blah, blah, like all this stuff, right? And nobody wants to watch it. And then as a coach, you're stuck answering the same question over and over and over again. And that is where, as I think as a coach, it's really important in your challenge groups to say, to put a little responsibility on the person and say, here's the information, watch it.
Yes, right? Absolutely. And that's why prep week for me also like is laying the foundation of the expectations of the group. So here's what you can expect of me. I'll be checking in daily. I will follow up with you. I will answer questions. I will, you know, try to like create that great atmosphere in the group to provide the best support I can. Here's what I'm expecting of you, you know, like, so, and then I get them started, like the prep week, I make sure that, you know, they clean their fridge, do their groceries. So having like a checklist of things to do, I think is a great idea. And I heard other coaches that do that, and that's what I'm going to transition to, going with an ongoing group. I also now send my prep week by email. So because I would typically have like prep week from day this to day that, and then would start everybody on day one. But since I'm having people coming in at different times, now they get their prep week by email. Some people send them a document, and one idea that I thought was really awesome is one coach is on our team. She said that she has them sign like a contract, like what we do in the test group, and then until she gets the contract signed and like their before pictures, they're not added to the group. So this with like having them do the thing. So it's like get in the group.
That's great though too.
Yeah. So when this is done, you get in the group, and then they do it. So you're sure that they do it. And sometimes those are the things I feel like prep week and like taking the pictures and measurements, and especially pictures.
So important.
Yeah, so important. And it's something that I know a lot of people just skipped because we don't want to do it. It's like sometimes at a moment where we're like, I don't want to take pictures, but like it's part of like that it's such a part of the plan that I'm trying to find that words in English, but like being conscious, like, okay, this is what the situation is now, and we're moving forward.
So, we're moving forward. This is just a moment.
Yes,
it's just a start place, but it's so important to have that, because then when they look back, right, when they feel like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like I've made progress, and they look back at that photo and they're like, oh, yeah, I did. Or even just submitting their before and afters, because maybe they get to the end and they're like, holy crap, I did so great. Now I do want to show people how far I've come.
Yes.
You can't show them if you never took it. So I do tell people that as well. Let me ask you, okay, I'm going to move on to some of these other questions. So one of the big questions we get asked is, what do you do with negative people in your group? Like somebody gets invited in, all of a sudden they're sort of the Debbie Downer of the group. What do you do with that?
I guess like you know better, because I mean with larger groups, I feel it tends to happen more. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. So, but if it happens, I really try to take them privately, like depending on the volume of the group and all that stuff. Like it all depends on the situation, but I don't really tolerate negative stuff. Like if I can talk about maybe more of my coach groups, because they're bigger and like it's pretty easy. Like for me, if it's negative, it's just deleted and good, like not goodbye, but deleted, and then we take it like privately in conversation. Talk the same with the customer, see how they're doing and what's going on, and then make them realize that their energy is affecting everybody else. And I'm always thinking of like that new person that just got in. Like same with the coach group or like the challenge group. The new person that just got in, super excited, and then they see that post. And I'm like, no!
Right, you're like, you just crushed their hopes and dreams of what this is supposed to be.
Yes. So it's okay.
Yeah, I think,
and that's something I do. Like in all my challenge groups, I have like an official video of like the expectations too, and like how I, like my philosophy, my values, what's accepted, what's not, how I want this to be an environment like where we can trust each other, but keep it positive. And it's okay to share the struggles. I get that, because I think it's important also, but always keep it in the positive like outlook. Like, so like seeking a solution. Like I'm asking for help, not like this is BS and blah, blah, blah. Like I don't tolerate that at all. It's just not happening.
That's so important. And I think you're right. I do think I probably see it more than you guys get it, because if you keep your groups smaller, but then again, you never know. Every once in a while you do. And there is a difference. There's a difference between somebody being negative and somebody going through a struggle, right? And so when they're going through that struggle, they're looking, that's exactly why they're in the group, right? They're looking for that guidance. They're looking for somebody to be like, hey, it's going to be okay. Let's work through this together. But again, if there's somebody who's just being like, this sucks, it doesn't work. If they're looking for the like Me Too train, right? Like people try to be negative sometimes just to get somebody else to like jump on board with them and be like, yeah, you're right, it's terrible, let's get out of here. Like, then it's your call because it's your group. But like Emily said, I would take that that comment down, and I would take it offline and both very politely be like, hey, what's going on? Let's talk about it, but let's also make sure that when we're in the big group setting, you know, we're keeping the energy.
Yeah. And sometimes people
positive.
are just not conscious of that. Like I'm a firm believer that the human being is good. So like I like to seek to understand first and be like, okay, so what's going on? Sometimes they're just not conscious. We as coaches online, like we become a lot more aware of like what we put on social media. Like I hope anyway. If you want to have a successful business, you have to be really mindful of what you put out there. But some people don't have like that social media skill either. So they just don't think how it can affect other people, and they feel like, I don't know, disappointed, angry, and then they just go and type that down, and then they really just are not conscious of the effect that they can have. So sometimes just taking them a minute and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't think about it. Like I didn't want to have that negative effect on the group, and I understand I'm not going to do it again. Like, so really like not assuming that they're a bad person and they're mean, and like not like just trying to understand what's going on.
Yeah. And like you said, I think you made a great point when you said like setting the expectations of your group before you ever start your group. The bottom line is, look, you guys are all going to lay your groups out in very different ways. Some of you are going to have many groups going at once. Some of you are going to be like, look, I'm diehard. I'm only going to do 21 Day Fix. And if those are the groups I'm leading and that's it, because that's what I love, or 80-day obsession, or whatever it might be. But some of you might be like, okay, I'm launching the new group, and then I'm going to add people into it. I've got this one over here. You're going to have all these different groups. But however you lay out, however many challenge groups you're going, I think there's a few things to keep in mind, which is one, doing something like Emily said, whether you do a video or you do a post and it lives at the top of the page for a while about what the group's about, what's to be expected from them, what they can expect from you. You know, like if there are any fun incentives that they should know are going to happen. Hey, every week I give a challenge. It happens on a different day, so make sure you tune in, right? So that they're not like, hey, you never said that. I didn't know to tune in. So like just setting up the expectations of that group before it ever kicks off is really important. It takes a lot of pressure off of you because you can do it before people are even in there. Like you can just go in, you can do a nice little recording. Hey guys, welcome to the group. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. This is what we got going on for this many days, and it's going to be awesome. And then it's there. It's the first thing that they see. The expectations have been set, and I think that that's really great. Let's see. If somebody, how do you explain a challenge group? Like, how would you summarize a challenge group in a few sentences to like a new perspective person?
It's so funny you're asking this question, because I was going to say, you know, the expectation even starts before they sign up. And that's it, and if we, like, that's how you explain it. Like, we got to be very mindful of how we tell how things are going to go. Like, I'm not trying to, like, to sell the world to them, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm being really transparent about how it is. And for me, my vision of a challenge group and how I see my role as a coach is to gather these women, because 99.9% of my market is that have similar goals, and typically is they want to work on their health and fitness first, and they want to improve their life. So, and then I create an environment of support. So basically for me, I'm trying to translate how I would say it because I say it in French, but if I had one catchphrase, I would say like, I would say like, yeah, so it's like a group of women that have similar goals, and the group environment is really there to support them, guide them, and create that environment of solidarity within the group, where what I like to say also is when you commit yourself to the group, you get to know people, like you feel a lot more responsible for the group. So it's not just about you, it becomes, you know, sometimes how it's hard to do something for yourself, but like when you think, oh, I'm doing it because I'm responsible for the group. So that's not just one sentence, but that's how I portray it. And I have a video that explains exactly what it is. So using third-party tools is something I've been using since day one. So as a new coach, for me, if you feel like you're struggling to explain what a challenge group is, look around what's available in the online office, or like create a short video if you feel comfortable. But I used those videos for a long time until I was comfortable enough to say, hey, this is how I do my groups. This is what I believe in. This is how I do it. This is the mission of the group. This is my role. And then I have that video that explains, and sometimes I send it to prospect. So depending on where I am in the conversation, but I tell them about I'm gonna ask them questions. Now I work with a form, so I know exactly what to ask them, and then they respond in it. So I would send that video, and then, hey, there's a form that I have with a few questions. You can answer them, and then I'll be able to make recommendations. And then from there, you're gonna get your package. You're gonna get added to the group. I talk about Shakeology. For me, it's a key component of my groups. And so that's what I do. It wasn't just a sentence. I'd have to think and write it down.
No, it's okay. Look, it makes sense, because here's the thing. Everybody is going to have a different way of explaining a challenge group and what it is, because every coach is going to run a challenge group differently. So what I would encourage you to do as a new coach, and maybe we're going to make, you know what, you just actually gave me what the assignment for the week is going to be. Because I was actually sitting here, I just had Sunday dinner with my family, and my sister was over, and I was like, okay, topic is challenge group best practices. What challenge do I want to give them for this week? So this is going to be your guys' challenge for the week. I want you to think about your challenge group or groups, however you run them, okay, whatever it might be. And in 4 sentences or less, you're going to describe what your challenge group is. And what I mean by that, so I'm going to give you a little example, because this is like, so every time I host a diet vet challenge, and I'm just using this because I have a very specific spiel for what a diet vet is, okay? When I'm like, hey guys, Autumn here, so excited to let you know I have my next diet vet challenge starting. It's starting May 7th. What is a diet vet challenge? A diet vet challenge is where you bet $30 on yourself that you can lose 4% of your body weight in 4 weeks. And if you do it, you win the pot and split it, or you win your money back and you split the pot with everybody else. I'm in there as your coach. I'm going to be giving you guys fitness tips, nutrition tips, fun little bonus exercises you can do every day. But you've also got the rest of the community in there cheering you on, supporting you, motivating you. It's just a really cool, fun way to lose weight and maybe win a little bit of money back. That's my spiel. And I could literally probably say it verbatim for you over and over and over again, because in terms of a diet bet, that's what I'm doing. This is what it is. You're betting this. I'm your coach. This is what I'll do. This is what the rest of the community is going to do. So for you guys, it would be something along the lines of like, oh, what's an 80-day obsession challenge group? Well, 80-day obsession is this program that we do X, Y, and Z in, and I put you in my Facebook group. And we also have this other really cool app. It's called a Challenge Tracker app. I'll tell you more about that later. But basically, it's a community of people. We're all doing the same fitness program. We're following this awesome nutrition program. It's going to help you get amazing results, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's your spiel, right? Yes.
Short and sweet and to the point. So that's your guys' I have a few more questions for Emily, but that's your challenge for the week, is identify what your challenge group is, so that if you're asked on the spot in person, you have an answer. And it's a concise one, so that it makes people go, oh, cool, I want to be a part of that. Not like, well, wait, I got to wait for you to send me X or describe Y. Like, and I know that's not what you were doing, Emily. I'm just saying, like, because I'm reading the questions I'm getting from people posting to us. So, you know, as newer coaches, they're like, well, wait, what do I say? I have one group? Do I say I have multiple groups? What if I have multiple groups? I have to tell them about both of the groups. What's your pitch? What's your elevator pitch? That's your assignment for the week, is knowing what your elevator pitch is for a challenge group.
And it's
How do you do all this?
Usually have
full-time job.
What's that? Sorry.
Oh, I was just reading somebody's question. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, it's because I wrote down a few notes. Like, depending on how I market my groups to, so my way of explaining it might be different, because like we were talking about that in the questions that you sent me. You know, I try to have like a new theme. I'm not always using the same pose. And I feel like people want the new and exclusive stuff. So if we, let's say, when we have a new program, it's like kind of easy. Like obviously I'm focusing on that, but I had other times where I really had like, I think about that group, it was called Win of Change, and I was focusing a lot on personal development. Like it was the first time that I was like putting that first, like fitness and nutrition were part of it, but that was like the highlight of my group, and that's how I marketed it. And then I attracted a lot of people that were interested in that, because I was like, I'm going to be sharing with you the best lessons I've learned in the last 5 years and creating videos and that, and then the people were interested in that. So there was an awesome national wake-up call about your mission and the mission of your challenge group. I don't remember who did it, but that's something I did a team call about, because you should have it written down. And I was not a good example tonight. So
No, you were a great example.
But I mean, I feel like I can be very enthusiastic, and that's the way I would do it. Like if someone is right beside me, I'll get excited. I'll be like, oh my gosh, you would love that. Like you would love to be in there. It's helping me so much with like keeping myself on track with my fitness goals. There's so many awesome women, and they're like, just like be enthusiastic and show how amazing it can be and can change your life.
Yeah, we're going to take a few more questions from the comments, and then I'm going to let you go because it's getting late your time. So one question again, and I think this is a big fear for a lot of newer coaches, is what do you do when you only have 1 or 2 people for your group? Somebody said this is a fear that has been holding them back, but they really want to open up a group. So what would be your advice to somebody that's newer that only has 1 or 2 challengers?
Team up with other coaches. Go on your team page, go on the champions page. I mean, like we have support everywhere. Don't stop yourself from inviting. I feel like some people like that's their fear. They're like, well, I'm only gonna have 3. You know what? You can also rock a group with 3 people. Like it really depends. I feel like everything starts here. So if you think that it's gonna suck because there are only 3, like obviously that's what you're putting out in the universe. So if you still feel like you can take a whole different vision on it, like be like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so cool. We're gonna be like so close together. Like, so it really depends on how you feel. If you feel that you should have more people to share with, I would encourage you to team up with another coach. And even like in this group, like maybe find other people that would like to do an ADM session. And maybe you're like, oh, maybe I'll have 1 or 2 people, and then team up, and then you'll have a bigger group, and then you'll be multiple coaches. And that's another thing you can also use to your advantage. We, especially with Team Cup, we tend to always have like a special group that we host all together. Like, so if we're a team of 5, we're like, you're going to get 5 coaches. Like, then we make it a big deal, and people are like, man, we're getting 5 coaches. So that's cool. So yeah, that was my top tip. Excuse me, too.
I think that's great. And I also think you guys, like Emily was saying, it's all about your mindset. So what if it's 1 person? You're a new coach, and it's 1 more person that you're going to help. It's 1 more person that can go out there and say, hey, so-and-so help me. And honestly, sometimes that 1 person, it gives you a chance to really hone your skill if you're a newer coach, and saying like, hey, come be a part of this group, blah, 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 blah. Like, look, if you're embarrassed you have no reason to be embarrassed, but if there's a part of you that is like shy about the fact that there's 1 person, maybe you ask your best friend or somebody to just go in the group and be in it too, right? So that you're like, oh, there's 2 of you. And then you just pour your heart and soul into that group, into those 2 people, and show them, because they're bound to go tell somebody else. So it doesn't matter if you're helping 1 people or 100 people, as long as you're helping, because the more you do that, the more your business is going to grow. And like I said, you're going to learn from it too. You're going to be like, oh, maybe I'm glad there wasn't 30 people in here because I had a complete screw up or something. Like I posted something like that was totally like, it didn't make sense or whatever. And 1 person I could explain it to, but 30 might be hard or whatever. So there's always, don't ever let that discourage you. I used to think like that, like back in the day when I first started training and I would teach group classes sometimes, I would always be like, what if nobody shows up to my group class? What if 1 person shows up? And I'm like, I look like a bad teacher. And I was like, no, if that 1 person shows up, I'm going to work them so hard. They're going to feel so good. They're not even going to know whether or not other people were there. All they're going to know is like, Autumn kicked my butt. Yeah. So you just focus on it that way. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have? I'm just looking. How do you define the difference between negativity and struggling? I'll answer that one in a second. Do you always give them info on 14-day free trial too if they are a brand new customer, or do you always just go straight to challenge pack and challenge group? Okay, so there's a good question. Do you ever give them info on the 14-day free trial if they're a new customer, or do you just sort of go right for the challenge pack, challenge group sale?
It's a good question. I've been really strong with the challenge group and challenge pack, and it's something that when I came in, we didn't have that either. We didn't have the trial, we didn't have bot, it was a whole different world. So it's not, and I'm not the best with free groups. I'm actually starting I did a few free groups in my 5 years of coaching, and I know I should be doing them, or there's a lot of opportunity there, but I have honestly, Autumn, I did one free group when I first started, and I did Sean Week and what's the other one, Clean Week, I did when they came out, but it's not something I emphasize on. So again, choose what works for you. I feel like I'm thriving on challenge groups, and it's always been the way that I do things. So I talk about the challenge pack, and it is what it is. It's not something I feel like I would stop them in a way. It's okay, you're ready to buy. Oh, well, you sign up for free, and then wait 2 weeks. I feel like it's when you get the conversation and people are willing to commit, I just have them buy a challenge pack and you get in my group.
Yeah, and you mentioned something about free groups, and I do think there's a big difference between try Clean Week, right? Or we had a little obsessed out in front of the paywall for a while for people to try, and that is a great way to get people testing it. But like Emily said, if you've got them ready to buy and they're interested, there's not really a reason to talk about, hey, let me give you this free thing first. Not because we're trying to rip them off, it's just they're in it, they're ready, so take them all the way. If you've got somebody who's really hesitant, that might be the time to talk about the 14-day free trial. But the one thing I want to talk about really quick, and this is semi-off topic, but it's not. I see a lot of challenge groups. I talked about this before the launch of 80-Day Obsession. I see a lot of coaches that do these free groups that have nothing to do with what we're selling. Join my 30-day free crock pot challenge group, blah, 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 blah. And I literally went on a quest to try to understand it, because I was like, you guys, I'm not putting people down. I don't understand the purpose behind this. And they were like, well, gets me traction, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you're just giving away your time and energy. At the end of the day, you're a coach. You're a Beachbody coach, and we have amazing products to sell. If you're going to do a free crockpot challenge, why wouldn't you do a fixate challenge instead? If you want to do a cooking food challenge, why wouldn't you be like, hey, let's do 30 days of making fixate recipes, or something that brings your business in and introduces them into our world? Because you're also sort of doing a bait and switch is what I would always call it, which is hey, I've got this really great free group. We're going to talk about food and da-da-da-da-da. And at the end, you're like, by the way, you want to buy this product? And so it's this weird bait and switch, right? Where they're looking at you as the expert, right? You're saying, I'm an expert, where I'm going to teach you recipes and da-da-da. And then at the end you say, I'm actually not the expert. I got this app over here that I want you to buy where all the experts live. I just wanted to give you this for free so I could talk to you about that. And a lot of times, I'm sure it works. Otherwise, obviously, I can't imagine that people would keep doing it. But like I said, it's one of those things that it's sort of, you got to be careful the light you portray yourself in as a coach. So, and again, I'm bringing it up just because I see certain questions popping up. No, go ahead. What makes sense for your business, and what makes sense for your business is to get them in, get them the challenge pack, get them going on our programs. That's, if you're coaching to be your business, you need to have a business and sell what we're selling.
Yeah. So if we want to talk about the business mindset too, and how I perceive it, I always work in a funnel, right? I lead with the challenge pack. I lead with the challenge group. This is what I believe in. I truly believe this is the best solution for people. We're putting all the tools in their hands. They get the fitness, they get the nutrition, they get the support, they get the coach. So this is what I lead with. This is what I talk about everywhere on social media. But in one-on-one conversations, I'm not like, again, I'm very flexible. I listen to what they're saying. So if I see that someone is very hesitant, like, and it, you know, money objections, sometimes it's just a way for people to get rid of you because they don't want to tell you the real answer. And then I try to go somewhere else. If I get that objection, I'm going to ask, like, other than the price, is there anything else that makes you hesitate? And then we talk, you know, and somebody's like, well, you know, we get deeper in the conversation. But if really it is tied to money, because it is reality, sometimes it's not something that you're going to see yourself invest in right now, then of course I'm going to talk about the 14 days. So, or I'm going to talk about maybe just Beachbody on Demand. So really, I think our job is to connect the need of a person, their need, not our need, not what we want, their need. Their need to a solution. And with everything that we have, like, we got something in there that can connect. And then if you do your job as a coach to ask questions, talk a little, listen a lot, connect them with the solution, they're gonna have their mind blowing and be like, okay, this is exactly what I need. Like, and they're gonna trust you because you really, really presented them with something they needed. So this is how I work. I work with the funnel, and at the end, there's no reason why they shouldn't get the 14-day trial. Like, because if they, get this, if they're at the end of your conversation, they told you about the money objection, and at the end, you try to sign them up with the 14-day for free, and they don't want to do it, and they don't do it, well, it wasn't the money thing. They're not ready to change. So one of the first questions I ask, and it's something I work on my social media too, talking about change all the time. Are you ready to change? Are you willing to change? And when we talk about expectations, it starts there for you, how you position what you believe in, your philosophy, your values on social media. I'm like, okay, are you ready to change? If you're not, that's fine. If you think the way you're doing things is working for you, that's okay. If you're not ready now, that's fine. I'll be there in a month, 2 months, next year, when you're ready. I have people that I have a coach who just recently signed up. She's been following me for 4 years, you know, and she's like, I can't believe I didn't do it before. And she never was in a challenge group. So, I mean, just.
Yeah, when they're ready.
Yes.
When they're ready. That's so important. Okay. Last thing, and if you don't have these for me tonight, it's okay. You can email them to me. But do you have, like, your 5 best tips for coaches for challenge groups, for starting them, running them, whatever it might be? What would be the 5 key things that should be the takeaway about challenge groups?
Okay, well, isn't that the thing that I sent you something? Is that like the 5 points? Yeah, I did. I don't remember by heart.
My bad. I got them somewhere. Hold on. I'm gonna look them up right now.
No, but that was for the postcard, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
that's my bad.
I can pull out my email. I should remember them, but I remember the first one was like the set expectation prep week is key.
Okay.
Then I talked about going live, going with the groups flow. So if you have, like, you know, because I work with, typically I have a document.
I see them. Okay.
Okay. With official, I'm gonna watch it too.
Prep week is key. Set expectations and make sure everyone is ready to start on day 1. Okay, so do you want to elaborate on that at all?
Yeah, we kind of talked about it a bit. So, like, even like I used to have it like a day by day posted in the group. Now it's sent by email. They get it every day, or you could create a document. I know a lot of coaches are doing that. Like, they send a PDF of like what a group is about, and like, here's what you need to do. Step 1, 2, 3. Send me your before photos. So I feel like it's very, very important. I don't have the points under my list.
Okay, no, I'll read you the next one and you can elaborate. The next one says, be present, go with the group's flow, ask engaging questions.
Yeah, so like I said, if you have like a document, like maybe you're using the Beachbody guides, or maybe you created your own guide. Maybe you wanted to focus on something a specific week, but people are struggling with other things, or they're bringing up different points. Like, be attentive to that, and I will go live and be like, okay, there's a few of you that asked about breakfast, like, what should we have? So let's talk about that. So I will really go with the group flow and then engage with them. So, like, again, not being static, but really like flexible, and then coaching them throughout their journey.
Great. Tip 3, you have go live to answer questions and give tips.
Yeah, again, I feel like going live is so important. I mean, it's something I didn't have when I started. I feel like it's such a game changer. It's a lot more interactive. I did a lot. I don't do them all the time, but for a period of time, I had like a Zoom call with my challengers. So it's something that's really, really cool. Like, you don't always think about that, but I'd have like a lunch time where I would take half an hour and we would all get on Zoom, and so it always starts awkward because no one talks. But I'd have like a few things I want to share, and then you get to connect with them like real time. Like, it's so different from when I started that we didn't have voice messages, you know?
Right.
So it was like very rich. Like, it was, like, some people thought I was a computer back then. You know, now they hear my voice. I reply by vocal messages. They know I'm a real person, you know? So use that.
Even that,
Yeah.
the technology that we have, you guys, like, be personable. So like Emily's saying, yes, go live, but like, also, if you're responding to your group, I remember I was sitting at leadership, and I don't remember which coach was being interviewed on stage, but it's one of our elite coaches was being interviewed, and he was saying he did this little test run where certain people he would respond to via text, like just words, and other people he would say the exact same thing, but it would be a voice memo that he would send to them, so they would get an audio file, and he was like, the engagement rate and the response that he would get from those voice memos compared to saying the exact same thing in a text message was crazy. Like, the people that were getting the voice memos were the ones that were buying, the ones that were like in it. It made him a person. Yes. It made it like, hey, you actually care. So use the technology that we have, just like we're doing right now, right? Like Emily could have just given me these 5 tips. I could have thrown it up for you guys, and that could have been the end of it. Instead, we're having a discussion so that you guys can hear it, see her passion, see all the things that she listen and hear all the things she's talking about is so important. Okay, last 2 tips. We have make a video to explain each phase with details for the meal plan.
Yeah, so for example, for ADF session, and that could be for anything else. I could change that tip if we want to have a more general tip to create video content. I know you might feel uncomfortable, but it's so much better sometimes than a post. Or like, you know, you could have like also the post, but supporting it with a video, especially for EDUP session. Like, I went through all the phases, and I sent it out to the challengers. If I had new people, they would get these videos too. I feel like some people are more visual too, so like, or more like they have to see you on video rather than reading things, so they might engage more and they might connect more with the content. So I would do that for your challengers. And again, like, just video is everything now, and especially on social media, it's where we're going. So don't hesitate. And I sometimes share one of the first videos I made for my challenge groups with my team, because I want them to understand like where I started. It wasn't good, and like, I'm a communication girl, like that's my background, and it was not good. Like, I was like so stiff and like reading things. So there's this sentence that is this quote that I love is, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Like, yeah, I wasn't comfortable, I was very awkward, and yeah, I wasn't natural, but I became better because I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos. So, and you're not sacrificing anybody because you might not be the best the first time. It's just part of the journey. Right. You have to embrace that.
Hey, everybody if you Googled me, you guys, and you find my first video I ever did with Brooke Burke on modernmom.com, it's hilarious. Like, it's me teaching an exercise. Like, I'm out in her backyard by myself in like this green tank top, and I am so stiff and I'm like a robot and I'm petrified. Like, it was the first time, like, scared to death. Yes. And then here I am now, you know, 6 years later, and it's like, hey, let's shoot for 80 days straight. Like, you have to work the nerves out somewhere. So whether you put the camera up and talk to it and don't ever post it or whatever, you got to get used to it, because it is the era that we live in. So, and you know, I think a lot of you guys started to experience that last week with what your assignment was that I gave you after Kaylee's interview, which was to go out and talk to people and share what you're doing on social media. And so many of you started doing that, and you're like, oh yeah, it's working. And I'm actually going to roll with what you said about explaining the meal plan, right, via video. This is really important, you guys. First of all, there are the videos that are made by myself or the other whether it's the trainer or the nutrition expert, whatever, depending on the program that we're talking about. But like, so getting them to watch that video really is important. But then also, you as a coach, it is your job to understand the material to the best of your ability. That is why you're in this group. That's why so many of you were in the original 80-day group that we just finished, right? So that you can learn from me. You need to sit down with those materials. You need to watch that video. You need to take notes. If you have a question, you need to go to the message board so that you understand it, so that when your challenger asks a question, you can answer it or say, let me find out. But also so that you can be like, okay, you guys, we're starting phase 1 of 80-day obsession. I don't want you guys to even worry about the phase 2 and phase 3. All you need to know right now is this is your formula. Body weight times 11 plus 600 minus 750 if you're in weight loss. And if you're maintaining your weight because you've already got one, you're here. We're just starting there. That's part of your prep week. Do your formula, right? And then you can do another video 2 or 3 days later. Great, you did your video, you did your formula. Now you know what bracket you're at. Let's talk about the vegan, if you've got any vegan people in your plan, or let's talk about the regular, like going live and you understanding the material and being able to say, let's talk about it, makes them trust you that much more. They're like, she's got my back. So that when they have a meltdown and a freak out and they're like, oh my God, it's not working, my weight loss slowed down because we're in phase 2 and I didn't lose 10 pounds this week, and you say to them, you go live and you say, breathe. This is normal.
I did
the exact
same video, and it's because my market is French too, so it's even more necessary sometimes that I go live myself so I can do it in French.
Yeah,
and I remember when you did that video, breathe. That was the same thing. It's like, okay, we need to respire in French. It's like, okay, everybody take a breath now. So, and again, we have access to you through these groups, and it's our job to get to comfortable with the content. And then I used your example, obviously, because you know what you're talking about. Sometimes I'll get inspiration from that, and I'll bring that to the group as well.
So our last tip was weekly individual follow-ups in private messages.
Yeah, again, I mentioned it briefly, but I think it's very important that we do that, and we do an individual assessment of where they're going. I mean, it's not always possible depending on the volume that you're running your business. And I remember Carl in the group last year, he had over 1,000 people in there, and you with your groups, you have other things to do during the day. But for me, that's something that's very important. That's also how I market my group. So they're getting that, that's a plus value. So I'm going to give them that. And I feel like this is what makes it so unique, because they chose you as a coach. So you can give them some of your time private.
Right. Yeah. You guys, look, these are all amazing tips. I think Emily has given you guys great things to think about in terms of incentivizing your group, how you're going to set up your group. And it's not hopefully nobody expected to come in and watch today's interview and have one clear-cut answer on how to do it. The interview is to get your wheels turning. How do I want to set up my challenge groups? Do I want to incentivize? How often do I want to check in? Do I have a posting schedule? Do I post blah, blah, blah in the morning and da-da-da at night? Do I want to find an app or schedule my posts for every day? How often do I want to follow up privately? These are the questions that you should be asking yourself, so that when you're running your challenge group, you know exactly, it's not chaos for you, because it can get overwhelming, especially if you're running multiple groups. So knowing how you're going to attack it is key. So this is your assignment for the week. I mentioned it earlier. Is I'm going to make it twofold. Part of the assignment is to make sure that you can define what your challenge group is. Everybody's is going to be different. 4 sentences or less. If I said, well, what is a challenge group? You would say to me, my challenge group is blah, 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 blah. Know what your 4 sentences or less are. And then your other part of the assignment is I want to know when your next challenge group is and what it's for. Hopefully you got an 80-day obsession challenge group going on. or one starting soon. I know we've got 2B Mindset coming up. I know we've got Lift 4. Hopefully you're not waiting for Lift 4 though to start a challenge group, because that's a long way off, technically speaking, as a coach. So the other half of your assignment is when is your next challenge group, and start inviting to it, okay? So next Saturday, I'll do a post. It'll say, tell me what your description of your challenge group is and when is your next one starting. That's what the question is going to be. So now you got time to organize yourself over the next week and think about it. Let's thank Emily for joining us tonight. Absolutely amazing information. So appreciate you taking time out of the night tonight to speak with us. You guys, the first week was amazing. So much great stuff. I see a lot of you picking up momentum. So let's just keep going. Keep crushing your 80-day obsession workouts, your nutrition, because part of it is sharing your journey, right? That's what we want to be doing, sharing your journey. So keep going, and we will talk again throughout the week, and then I'll see you guys next Sunday for another interview. Emily, thank you.